is AI for Business Promotion in Marketing and Sales, in which we discuss the importance and significance of AI in business, how AI supports businesses in marketing and sales. For the start, I would like to invite Sir Ammar.
Please, Nafis, can I have my presentation?
Yeah, sure, sir. Yeah, sure. Is it visible to you, sir?
Yes, now. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum and a very good evening from Pakistan. I firstly like to thank you, the panelists and the participants who have joined us this evening, and on a very, very vital topic. You know, AI itself is something new. So we need to understand it that what is this and how we can use it for the business promotions. I think the COVID-19 has reset a number of things, and one of it is business promotion. Can I have next slide, please? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, very briefly about me, then I'll start about it. My name is Ammar Jafri. I am former Additional Director General of FIA, and after my retirement, I started the initiative E-Pakistan. So for making Pakistan as a E-Pakistan, we need to do a lot of things. So we are doing multiple things, and one of it is emerging technologies. And this entire week, we'll be talking about AI. At exact 8 p.m. Delhi, we'll be talking on artificial intelligence with a different perspective. So today perspective is use of artificial intelligence in businesses. So let me start from about data and artificial intelligence. Ladies and gentlemen, data is our lifeline. You just think for a minute, you do not know anything about personal particulars, anything about your, let's say, your job, where do you job, anything about the place you live. So this is the basic data around you. So like this, every organization has a data, starting from the information about employees, information about customers, and reaching to the unlimited sources. So basically, data is the lifeline of organization. I think today, it's the most valuable enterprise community. I think enterprise is not now gauged with how many vehicles they have, in which building they have, how many employees they have. It is something important, but not to the extent. The most important is the data of the enterprise. What is the data of the enterprise? It's customers, its products, its product range, its supply chain, its production, everything documented is called data. So it's the most valuable commodity for the operation. Now, the current use of NLP and AI enterprise is just the tip of the iceberg. I'll explain more about natural language processing and AI, but it is whatever we know right now about it, it's just tip of the iceberg. There's a complete range of facilities and complete range of what you call resources we have in the iceberg. I think COVID-19 has increased the urgency, both for the existing customers of the organizations and exploring the new markets. Just think for a minute about a company whose sales force is not going to the customers. So what's happening? If they do not have some alternative arrangement of knowing the performance of the marketing team or the customers, what will happen? So I think COVID-19 has increased the urgency of what I'm going to talk about. The government is already there. So data analytics, when you have data, you can apply analytics on that, you can have data sets. It will drive the most demanded IT investments now, because now the IT investments will be more on data, AI, IoT, blockchain, all these things, so that they can make things secure. Now, NLP technologies are specifically topic bonding is becoming a key tool for unlocking the value of the data. I'll talk about topic bonding, how different topics are modeled by separating them into different situations. But now it is becoming a key tool for unlocking the value of the data. AI is not limited to the hardware and software. It's much beyond. So all students listening to me right now, it should be very clear to them that there's a fine combination between data we have, between the AI applications and the hardware and software we have done. Next, please. Next screen, please. Yes. About NLP, natural language processing. NLP is the branch of AI that deals with training the computer to unearth a process and generate language. Let me give you an example. How does a child learn? When a child is a few years of age, he sees a cup of tea and he asks his mom, "What is this?" The mom says, "It's a cup of tea." So right now, child has seen something, heard a word, now the child learns it. So this learning process grows as the child grows. So in the same manner, NLP is a branch that deals with training the computers to understand a process and generate a language. So now computer understands a process. At the moment computer understands a process, it can handle it through a language, which is called NLP. All our search engines, machine translation services, voice assistants, they are powered by NLP. When you use your smart cell phone and ask the Alexa or anything you have on your smartphone, where is Islamabad? So what do? Your voice is converted into some algorithm which is understood by the machine. So on the same analogy, you have search engines. On the same analogy, we have machine translation. You write something in Urdu or English and you can say, okay, translate it. So there the NLP works. Now, what is topic modeling? It's again NLP technique that breaks an idea into subcategories of common occurring concept defined by group of words. Every document we have in the computer has a fingerprint. Like we have a human being's fingerprint, every document has a fingerprint. We can link the fingerprint of a document with some other document using the topic modeling. Using AI, you can now write books. I have seen myself a book written by based on AI. How? I gave the idea and I gave the salient features of the ideas. So my idea was subcategorized into commonly occurring concepts. And then by defining the group of words, I have a complete book on that. I have seen myself. The first book written by AI. So natural language processing again is a tool. Now, next please. Yeah. Now, what are the sources of data in organization? We have a structured data and we have unstructured data. What is structured data? Structured data is something we have our Excel sheets, our documents, our databases, they are all structured. We have entered it and now we can access it. But at the same time, we have data coming from the IT devices, we have data coming from the sensors, from the beacons, so many things. So that data is there in the building, but at time we store it, at time we don't store it. So the largest pool of data come in the form of the text form. What is the text form? The data in the files, the data in the paper, all documents which organizations collect, it's in the form of data. So our patents, our product specifications, our academic publications, our marketing research, news, and many more. These are data. So intellectual property issues of data are also there. In Pakistan, we have a law like access to public data. So we can discuss these things also. Next, please. Now, taking the AI is now the fabric of a business. What is a fabric? The basics of the business. We use AI for strategic business decisions. These are all data driven. How? For example, a business operations want to invest into some area. Now, if they don't have a data, they can't do anything. So if they have a data, they should have algorithms. So depending on the requirement of the organization, they use this data-driven applications. Maybe this is only a rotation seminar. In weeks to come, maybe we have a detailed training session and we can discuss all these things, that how you apply AI for the strategic business decisions. Now, AI for human resource management. How do you manage your resources? You have a data of the human resources, and then you manage them. But how do you identify the habits of an employee? For example, employee always comes late. Employee always comes with the extra man in the building. Employee always goes out for smoking after every half an hour. So I'll just give you an example. An employee always leave the office before the office time. So no system can gauge these things, even if you have the CCTV cameras. But using the AI, you can after a week identify the patterns. Yeah, AI for information security. It's a wonderful idea. Use of AI for cyber security, for information security. You identify the patterns, that who logs in from the outside the office. Anybody who logs in from the outside the office, does he or she change the passwords? And blah, blah, blah. There's so many things. It's a complete science. That how do you use AI for information security and cyber security? You know, ladies and gentlemen, it's the era of threat intelligence. You identify the threat through your intelligence. And this is something AI for who is logging at the odd hours, if you are allowing the people of the organization. So it's again a complete topic on which we will cover about the AI for the let's say information security. Asset tracking. The source of the organization's asset is a big asset. Computers, tables, chairs, scanners, all these things. So if you program that this scanner should be in this building, it shouldn't move to the other building, and you don't find in that building, I think AI can help you. Either it is stolen or somebody has taken it for some other use which was not designed for that. So asset tracking using AI, again, a big science. What is business intelligence? Business intelligence is something in which you keep a watch on your competitors. You keep a watch on the offers they are making. You know, normally you can't do it through data, through naked eye. You can't do it. But if you have an AI-based system and you make some parameters to it, and they keep on working on that, now they can identify that what are the business intelligence. Customer satisfaction. Every organization wants satisfied customers. But if they do not have a system, you may say that, okay, I'll ask how satisfied you are. But no. At times, customers don't respond. At times, they just praise you for anything. At times, they just criticize you for anything. So you have to identify that who are the, maybe your competitors are giving you bad comments. So you have to identify that who are the genuine customers, what is their pattern of satisfaction, how much they are critical to you. So there are so many things. Yes, marketing. In which area you need to market your product? What need analysis you have made? Is it demand driven or something like that? So there are so many things. Next, please. Okay. Industrial Revolution 4.0. It's a big subject. I would not like to talk it here also. But again, we had the revolution in the history. We had the first industrial revolution, then second revolution, the third revolution, which were computers. Now the industrial revolution 4.0. And now when we club artificial intelligence with IR 4.0, it again becomes a big domain. Actually, now we are already using IoT-based air conditioning in our offices, in our homes. You must have seen the number of ads in the TV that your AC is not. What is IoT? It has an IoT device into it. It can sense a lot of things. It can control a lot of things itself. Now, in the next 2 years, we will be having a robotic doctors. You don't need to go to the doctor. You just diagnose something, give your medical vitals, and maybe if you have to go to a doctor, there's not a physical doctor, there's a robotic doctor. Just put your hand there, and the machine records your medical vitals, and you get that medicine. Maybe at a later stage, you need some physical doctors. I think less than 5 years, we'll be having not the physical banks. I think you can transfer money from you. Even it is today, it is true today. But I can imagine that after 2-3 years, this existing banking system, physical building won't be there. You can do it easily in virtual environments. I think in less than 10 years, we won't be the drivers, only will be on the passenger seat. Maybe in some countries, driving your car may be a crime. You can't do it because if you're not a good driver, you are putting the life of so many people in danger. Our industries would be fully automated. I think there's a YouTube video, you can see it. A company car was manufactured definitely without any human intervention. Ladies and gentlemen, there are 4 processes in an industry unit. They have a raw material, its quality control check has to be made. Then they have their production. Then they have their supply chain. Then they have their customer response or satisfaction. All these things are now being covered under Artificial Intelligence 4.0, and it is all AI driven. Maybe in next talk on IR 4.0, we'll cover all these. Predictive maintenance. Normally what happens in the industry, when there's a breakdown, then a team comes and they see how the breakdown occurred, blah, blah, blah. And during that period, your entire manufacturing is effective. But using AI and using IR 4.0 platforms, you will have an alert on your phone that this machinery maintenance is now entering dangerous level. Its lubrication is in dangerous level. And if you won't do the preventive maintenance, you'll have a serious problem. So the owner of the factory can easily handle it. And there's so many things, which is again IR driven, and you should. So since the time is limited, so I'll just try to be quick. Next, please. Put the way forward. Ladies and gentlemen, no one can stop time and technology. It has to come. You know, when the first time the computer came, what was the criticism? That where human beings will go. Human beings have not gone nowhere. There are millions of new jobs created. So there's a perception that if the AI will take over, the IR 4.0 will come, human beings will be of no value. It's a wrong perception. Please correct it. There is still a job of millions of new professions. So we need to understand these professions. 5G would totally disturb, because you know, but we had 2G, then 3G. Transformation from 3G to 4G was very smooth. But when you go, you're already gone. There are experiments out there. I think George will speak more on it. I think, but the moment we go in Pakistan from 4G to 5G, you will see a tremendous change. You know, in some of the cases, our life would be more virtual. So we should get ready for that. We need to understand the role of emerging technology, digital transformation. Everybody is talking about digital Pakistan, but what is the role of AI? What is the role of IoT? What is the role of 3D? What is the role of AR, VR? What is the role of blockchain to all these things? Finally, I'll tell you something about AI Center Pakistan. AI Center is a facility in Blue Area in which we will try to club all AI-related activities into Pakistan. We are in partnership with a number of IoT centers abroad, and this is only the beginning of the initiatives taken by, I think, AI Center. And please contact with Rabia. She is the resource person. She is handling all these affairs in AI Center. And our outreach program at district level, we intend to open AI Center in every district of Pakistan, because AI is not something like hardware and software. It's the human beings. It's like machine learning. We'll have to get the machine learned. And that will only be possible if we will have AI agents in every district, and they will take some data collection devices in different fields like agriculture, like climate change, so many things. I won't go into detail of that. So we intend to engage university students in our Project University Plus. I will not go into detail. Maybe if students like, they can approach us, and we will have a University Plus program in which we'll engage university students from let's say 5 or 6 semesters, and we will educate them on AI, and we will train them in AI things, And all these things will be done under a program which is called University Plus, which will run by AI Center. Next, please. So these are my particulars. You can note down my email address. You can note down my telephone number, and maybe take a decision and take the question in the end. So if you have any question, you can write in the question box. And I thank you all for giving me very patience. Thank you, Rabia, for giving me the opportunity. Thank you.
Please अपना mic unmute कर लें kindly. Please unmute your mic.
Thank you, Sir Ammar Hussain Jafri, CEO AI Center, Pakistan. Dear students and professionals who want to start their careers in AI, we welcome to AI Center helps you in every project. In your project, if you want to do your project, please join our initiative, University Plus. University Plus and AI Center will help you to start your and make your project in AI. We will connect you in different resource persons in around the world according to your projects. So I would like to invite my next panelist, Mr. George Sebastian.
Good evening. It's a pleasure to be here. Maybe the first thing I need to probably do is maybe see if I can share the screen. Let's see. I'll share maybe the whole desktop. This might be a bit easier. And then let's see. Do you actually see the screen now? Just to
Yeah, I see.
Okay.
That's visible.
Perfect. Okay, we're going to be spending the next 10 or 15 minutes to discuss about AI as it applies actually to sales and marketing. As you know, AI is actually not new technology. AI has actually been around for probably closer to 30 years, but is an evolvement of several disciplines that have been around in IT for quite some time. And I'll try to highlight that as well as I go through the presentation. So primarily when we talk about business today, one of the most important elements that we have to contend today is what we call business disruption. And one of the key technologies that is creating this business disruption is AI. Why is AI creating this business disruption? Because it's changing the rules of the game. Because it's primarily putting value on something that is very important to today's organizations, which is data and information.
Solving in 3, 2, 1. Oh, yeah.
Many of you have seen in the past something known as Rubik's Cube. Where does AI create a lot of disruption in the solution to this problem? It is actually capable to solve the Rubik's Cube problem in 0.38 seconds. Now, you could see the image of the video that I just played. Really, this is about understanding the current situation, and this could be the situation in which a business finds itself, and then make the necessary business moves or decisions to be able to win in that specific business vertical that the business is trying to compete in. So that really means that AI for you as a business gives you disruption and speed. And this speed is really about agility. So it allows you to see much higher degree of information and react to this information or see patterns in this information that would otherwise not be visible to the average user. Obviously, AI is not new. I remember using data science back in my early days of computing. I've been in computing for a little bit over 35 years. I remember using on the mainframes at the time a very famous utility known as SAS, which actually still exists today. And SAS was a statistics-based tool that allow you to extract statistical information from the data. And this gave birth to what we know today as data science and big data. So big data obviously went much beyond the traditional statistics organization, SAS, that provided as a service, not only to deal with what we call structured data, numbers and digits, but also unstructured data, which really means the things that we use every day on our mobiles. This could be a video, could be audio, or other types of unstructured data like GPS location, etc. So this allowed us to extract and combine information together to allows us to make much better and faster and more informed decisions. And these decisions provide the necessary means for the business to be competitive in its various verticals by allowing them to make better business decisions in sales and marketing. AI is driven today over the last 30 years by big advancements in the cost of storage and in the cost of computing. Those have come down tremendously. Actually, they have come down in some cases in the area of storage, even more than Moore's law, that basically every 2 or 3 years, the price of computers doubles and the cost actually halves. Storage has actually beaten this growth. So when you combine this advantages cost associated with storage, low cost of communications, and very big increase in CPU capacity, it makes AI as we know today is possible. Not only this, today we have specific CPUs or numerical CPUs, or sometimes what we also call GPUs, graphical processing units, that we are using today to speed up the analytics about AI. But AI is also about data. So without data, or without what we sometimes call dense data, is not of much use. So the consumers today are producing much more data than before. And one of the primary sources of this data is what we call IoT, or Internet of Things, or Internet of Everything, as we sometimes call it. There's many kinds of IoT devices. I just show you one single sample here. What we call IoT wearables, which allow you to capture health data or activity data, like, for example, how many steps you did, what's your temperature, the amount of calories you may have spent, etc. So this data can then be used to drive much better and much more sophisticated AI as models. So it's the availability of this data that enables these new sales and marketing models to take place. But this is you in front of the customer data. You don't know where is the important information and how to extract that information. AI, through advanced machine learning algorithms and others, enables you to see relationships between the data that are not apparent to the average user. So that really means it allows you to see thousands of dimensions on this data at the same time and identify and extract patterns from this data. So that really means that we have today the customers that you're trying to target. Maybe you will sometimes refer to this as your market segments. With the data that is being extracted from IoT devices or mobiles or others, it allows you to actually enrich this customer data to then process via an AI algorithm or a machine learning algorithm, and then created much more applicable segments, or basically a much better qualified customer database that you can then target with very specific actions, advertising, campaigns, or other. That really means AI allows you as a business to focus your limited sales and marketing resources in a much more focused way. It allows you to identify where there is patterns of customers that you need to target because they make sense for the products and services that you're trying to offer. Like the same example video that I showed you earlier, in which the Rubik's Cube that takes maybe an average person, a very good average person, probably 10 or 15 minutes to solve, it's solved in 0.3 some seconds. The same thing happens about targeting customers with specific actions for sales and marketing. One of the biggest users of this technology is Google today. And Google, when you go to your browser or you go to other activities, is sending you targeted ads. Through the usage of AI, Google is able to compute all or many of the permutations of the ads that can serve you. In some case here is looking at over 43,000 permutations, and then it tunes the specific ads that will actually give more engagement to the customer, the ones that lead to the result of engagement, which then will itself lead to a sale. So that really means AI is playing an extremely important role to the success of Google as an organization in the context of its sales search ads. But today, this technology has evolved much more than that. AI has evolved into machine learning that is applicable to, for example, voice recognition. It is applicable to image recognition. Is it applicable to voice and other recognition? This has given birth to new applications of AI with this extra power available. So today we have what we call sales chatbots. This is the new form in which AI takes a very friendly user interface to actually increase your customer sales in a very dramatic way. And this can easily be delivered to the average consumer that we have today through the portable mobile that they use on every day. The interesting aspect about the statistics of using, for example, chatbots or sales bots is that 50% of the people are ready to buy from these chatbots. So instead of them talking to specific sales agents or other persons, physical persons, now 50% of the sales are actually going to be closed by machines, by automated tellers that respond to your actions and your queries across the most convenient terminal today, which is actually the mobile. All these technologies, of course, have got pluses and minuses. On one side, this can give you a lot of differentiator and agility to your company and actually achieve your sales targets. But on the other side, some people may consider this to be unethical or cause some additional elements of invasion of privacy. And AI, because it's driven by machine learning algorithms, does not work all the time. You can say that it may have accuracy sometimes as low as 50% and sometimes as high as 98 or 99%. The mistakes that AI will make will depend on the quality of the data and the density of the data that is used to train the machine learning models. Who are some of the key people other than Google that today are using AI? You use every day Facebook. So this is the 10-year strategy plan for Facebook. And you quickly realize that AI, apart from video and others, are extremely centered at their strategy to actually be differentiated and to be successful in their business model. So the same way it is a key to the success of Google, it is also a key to the success of Facebook and their divisions. So if you want to take advantage of this new technology, it's really about combining AI and data together through the standard APIs that are available today and extract data about your future consumers through the tablets, the mobiles, the gaming consoles, the smartphones, or the IoT devices, or the smart devices that are going to be part of your modern connected house. They generate the necessary data to drive the AI models in a successful way to sell your products and your services. Everybody is using AI. Most of the companies that you see here are the new generation of companies that are using AI to compete much better than the traditional ones. So if you watch a movie today on TV or mobile, probably it is Netflix that is targeting you with the right selection of programs that match you as an individual. The same thing applies to Amazon when it's trying to sell you goods and services, Facebook, Google, but many others, maybe Spotify trying to get you to listen to some of your favorite music as well. When we take all of this combined together, AI allows our organizations to simplify their business model, to get much better integration into the data, to be able to differentiate who are the key customers that they will focus on. Primarily and above all, this will give your business a high degree of agility. And this is my short presentation for you today about AI and its sales and marketing utility in today's modern business. Thank you.
Sir, please unmute yourself. Sir, please unmute yourself. Sir.
Yeah, George,
Yes.
wonderful, wonderful. Trust you me, in very few minutes, I think you have just unearthed the sea of information. Lot of questions, but maybe we'll have it on a cup of tea when we are around. Thank you much. Thank you. Please.
My pleasure, always.
Hear me?
Rabia, this problem? I think Rabia has some communication problem. Yeah, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Sir, can you hear me? Thank you, Mr. George. Thank you for your presentation and your knowledge. I hope everyone gets enough knowledge about how AI
Dr. Vikhar, I think
is
Rabia has some problem.
promoted in
She's asking you
sales
to,
and
I think, start
marketing.
your.
Now, I would like to invite my third and last panelist, Mr. Dr. Shafi.
Leader, sir. Please go ahead.
Is this my turn?
Yeah.
Because I'm not
sure.
properly hearing
Dr. Shafi.
properly here.
Yeah, it's your turn, sir. It's your turn.
Okay, sir, thank you.
Only,
Thank you so
only
much.
there were three panelists. There were only three panelists.
Okay,
Please.
thank you so much. Having a pleasure again to this panel and obviously for this opportunity. Today, the topic is very much, the broad spectrum topic as far as concerned to the AI in business. And George, Sebastian, obviously you have give your thoughts and obviously in presentation is remarkable, really appreciable as well. So let me, I have been like here so many times, so people knows me very much, so I don't would like to be give complete detail about myself. So I can share the screen. Okay, everybody can see my screen.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay, my basically background is related to the AI for last 20 years. And this is the company, this is where I've been working for the Perceptron and TensorMind. TensorMind is a research and development company with respect to the AI, and Perceptron is basically doing a marketing and sales of the products. So let me talk about it, what we have been doing and why we are doing. This is 4 areas we are mentioning over here. As you see all over the world, what happens around the world when the technologies actually come into the market. For the 1947, when we do have the pin diode is coming to the market, and the revolutionary electronics is actually basically came into the market. So as far as concerned, the technology actually boosts the businesses, whether whatever the technology you are going to talk about, it's a mechanical engineering or it's talk about electronical engineering or electrical engineering. And over there are so many technology involved, and obviously it basically boosts the business. Business today, we talk about the data, the tech on the right time with you. So initially it was a perception of the people like 30 years back when, you know, the computers come into the in our market and people are get involved to doing the different sort of things with the computers, and information systems actually has been emerged. And people are, what basically the idea about the people wants that real-time data, whether at that time the information system was developed, but actually we couldn't get the real-time data at that time, but it was, we are getting the data. So as far as the data, we actually doing the different sort of work on the data, and we make a different reports on the data. And then when we get to know actually what basically the business is talking about, business, what the business is saying. So either the business is in the green area, or business in the red area, or is the business in the yellow areas. So we actually talking about with the data. But when the times passes on, the data is comes bigger and bigger, and now it's become a big data. Everything of the organizations actually is now being interconnected with the data. And we now we have a data, but we don't have a time to evaluate the data, to actually extract the in that sort of information that actually we have required at that time. So the new problem emerged. And the people are thinking how we can resolve comes into the market. And not only doing such sort of thing which I'm doing over here, we are just working on 4 domains. But right now the AI has 57 domains, and you know there are a lot of things are in the AI is going on. So vision, when we talk about vision, we talk about sound, we talk about natural language, we talk about the prediction. So with respect to my team developed the algorithm, which is not basically developed on the Google or the Microsoft, it's a proprietary based, our own algorithm we have written by our own self. And then we develop a product which helps the organization in how they can get the benefits from that algorithm, and obviously resolve that sort of issues which they are been facing in their information system. So AI not only assist the COVID actually changed, and I can say that it will change the history as well. So you will see what happens. So we have, this is our team. So I'm just going to talk about, we are artificial intelligence, deep learning based company. And you see there are different sort of solutions over here. Lot of solutions has been developed, and we have we deployed it, not in Pakistan, it's out of Pakistan as well. So we also are located in the UK as well, in Sri Lanka as well. So the solution actually are being deploying over there as well. So I'm just giving you the example that what's happened. So let me give you one of the another presentation, which is related to the I'm sharing the another presentation, please. So wait, please, I'm open it. This solution actually we have designed for one of the mall, okay, and you know the malls are different issues. I think I can share. Okay. So now you can also see over here. I think so. So this is a solution, business solution. So we talk about the business. So it's one of the application. I'm talking about the AI. We are just talking about the mall performances, measurements, and beefing up the safety and security by using an AI technique, and also going to detect, assess, measure, and analyze the forecast by using the deep learning technologies. So now what's it? Is we call it InfoLight. So what's actually his? You see, AI, we talk about sees and listening everything. And today, the George actually explained in very deeper mode that how the basically AI works. So I'm not going to explain more what is going to happen in deep learning, how the things have been resolved. So detect, understand an incident and react, and then obviously anticipate incident engaged people, help businesses grow and predicts future. So this is the objective. Now in the mall, what are the different things? You know, there are different stories, different things we will talk about. When we say, for example, any retail store, so its norms, its ecosystem is entire different with respect to the malls. So in malls, we have a different gates. The people are entering over there. So, you know, they need a very good security over there, because if anything would be happen due to unsecured things, so you know the other people who are actually are there maybe cannot come in next time. So they are very much conscious about it, that how we are going to secure our gates, and if somebody having a weapons over there, how we can detect it. So due to this, not weapon, its body gesture and obviously its emotion, so we can detect him that this man is not the appropriate person for the mall, for he's not coming for the enjoyment and other things. He may be doing something mess over here. Then we have a corridors, and obviously we have you know a food courts, we have a play areas, we have a restroom, we have a parking. So anything can be happen. We can detect the fire, we detect the lonely children, we can do gunshot detections, while sounds, and counting the people as well, and obviously measuring the parking occupancy as well. So when the people actually are came into this part, so uh, you know, so we can visually count it. So how many people actually, what are the footfall of the uh, people in the mall, and we can classify the visitor as well, which is not possible by the human eye. But by using the same camera which is running on the CCTV, we use our algorithm and obviously find it out how many people actually are coming on daily basis, and what is the rush time, and what are the like peak times of the mall, and usually what are the different months where the mall is so much rushy. So we can, according to that classification and visually counting, obviously we can find it out like how we can manage the mall security, and obviously how we can involve the different sort of people, how many people actually we have required in different days, different timings, and obviously different months, or whether we have a different occasions and different things like that. So same thing we can do it by this time. Same as like, if is there any like, there is some corner of the malls, some areas which are not very much rushy over. So if there is anything happen, anticipating a fight, so we can detect and alert the cameras and microphones. We can monitor staff, those who are the like in the uniforms, and obviously they can find it out. This is a like security guard. This is something like a senior security person, and this is like some are the janitorial persons over there. Same as like we can also detect the weapons, and obviously if somebody, like for example, if something happens in some incident is going to be happen in some certain area, and the camera can found like there is something happening, and if there are some doors which can be auto locked, so we can by obviously detection method, or obviously by the other method, we can lock the door by auto mode. Same happen if there is spotting in the fire, we can also check it. Like in the idle times, when there is nobody in the mall, and like if something happen, it's going to be a fire, if like it's going to be like a spark over there, if like anything, is idle mode can be happens, so we can detect via cameras. If any movement, so you don't need any or moving detectors over there. You can just use the same camera and detect the people. And it's same as like if some some like baby is going to be lonely in there, and obviously he is left from his mother and father, and if they're guardians, so camera can find out that this baby is right now for the 5 minutes, it she is actually is moving around here, and she is, and maybe she is or she is not with his parents. So the camera detect him, and obviously the guards can come over there, and obviously they can help them. Same as we're talking about the parking, different sort of, the different parkings over here. Like if we have in Lucky One, there are some sort of parking system. There's an open parking system, and they have a detection of parking cars. And then obviously we would like the people actually who are the coming over, and how many people actually are coming on daily basis. So we can find the car numbers, and obviously we can generate the data, and obviously we can detect that these cars actually are coming on daily basis. Some cars are coming in a day, very much time. Why they are coming so many times? So obviously this can be monitored, and we can secure the parking, and obviously secure the mall in this respect for the different data and behavior of the car movement. And same as like if somebody is not parked the car in very uh, in a good way, so obviously we can also detect it, and we can ensure it that the car and the things are very much okay. Same as when obviously the camera is watching everything, and we are monitoring if somebody is going to uh, see what happened in my car, if it's going to be incident happen over there. So the safety is also like your car is like is park is good, and there is safety over there. You can also monitor. So you use the dock management as well over here. Dock stations, are here. So efficient is going to be more increased the logistics systems, and obviously the customer is like efficient in it. So we can use in different ways. Same, like cleanness is very important today. The hygiene system is very important. Like in the pandemic, corona COVID situations, we are so much care about like ourselves, and you are also. So we can also monitor either janitorial staff is doing their job a proper way, the cleanness is going to be happen, the basket's going to be like unfilled, and something like that. So same as we can also surveillance the mall external part as well. And it's very important that food courts, so many incidents happen in the food court so many times, and when you are you are so much involved with the food, and your bag on the right side, and there's some shopping on the right, some people come over there and they can took your bag, so it can be also detectable over here. And the hygiene system of the foods, and obviously the stakeholders who are obviously providing their services, and the different brands, so they obviously you are also going to check them how they are dealing with the people and how they're dealing with customers. And obviously the playing areas are very important. That safety is high end, and like the measuring the occupancy, and obviously the delightness of the children and their sentiments you can also check. And finally, you can also check the heat maps. The heat maps for the internal traffic, which is, we can detect the people, mostly people actually are come up and go to the food courts. People come up for the playstations, and people that usually are doing the shopping from these areas. So according to that, obviously, you can shutter and you can change the location of some people, so that the traffic can be diverted, and you can move the people on the every floor to make a look of other shops as well, either not on the whole, all the brands on the same floor. So people just go to the same floor and obviously do the shopping and then go off, and other brands actually, which are new in the shopping mall. So they usually not go over there. So according to that, you can also manage by the management of the mall. And
Dr. Shahid,
and then basically we have a face sentiments finally, and the hygiene equipments and extensions, same as like uh, you can also check the different trespassing rats and meow and tested in and hygiene process as well, and do a lot of more thing by using the cameras, drones, and microphones, and the heat maps we talk about. Like you can check it out, the heat maps. So this is, this is like one of the aspect that we talk about, the different things which is normally uh, we can use in the business. And this is one of the application, only one application which is only for the malls, and we are going to install this application in the huge mall in Karachi near soon. So this is, there are numerous applications with respect to the AI, same as in the sales and marketing data we do have. And obviously in the sales and marketing we can get the data, and we can predict the data where the sales is going on, so AI can also help us. So I think so so many things we can talk about, but there is a constraint of time, I know. And so thank you so much. Thank you, Ammar. Thank you, George. And thank you, other people who are here to listen us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dasa. So kind of you. It was wonderful. And the very interesting part of sentiment. At times when somebody enters into the mall, even the body language tells what is he or she up to. So the sentiments and everything, I think, whenever I think about AI, it really amazes me. And that's there are two, three questions, I think, from the participant. I would like you to please answer them. There's a question with us, Dr. Abdul Rauf. He is from the local university. He's asking that all data is available on cloud now. So is there any tools available for the developing countries for gauging the AI performance based on the cloud information? Actually, he's asking about कि भाई कोई सस्ती चीजें available है ऐसी कि भाई जाके AI analysis कर सके इसकी. दसा आवाज आ रही है आपको?
डॉक्टर शहीद का माइक अनम्यूट कर दें.
दसा माइक अनम्यूट कर लेंगे?
Yes. Didi, what is the question? Please, can you repeat it? I cannot hear.
इसमें लिखा भी है. क्वेश्चन ऐसा ये है उनका कि क्या कुछ टूल्स अवेलेबल हैं चीप डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज के लिए कि जो एआई की बुनियाद पे डाटा एनालिटिक्स करके वो पैटर्न निकाल सके अगर डाटा क्लाउड के ऊपर अवेलेबल है.
Didi, there are a lot of data is available, and अभी तो मैंने आपको कुछ like some applications we just talk about. One application I talk about. I do have another application which is called the Planet Scan, and we can provide you the like those sort of data which you cannot be imagined, and this data is available free of cost on internet, and also available through satellite. So there are a lot of things, a lot of data is available on cloud as well, and it's available. It talk about the data sciences, one of the field of the AI. So we can use the data sciences, some algorithms, and obviously by using their algorithms, we can predict what the behavior of the data and what is the trend of the data. So there are different models with the regressions and correlations, data formations, and according to population and obviously samples situations, we can find it out what's going on in the market. Like for example, just I'm going to talk about like in 1995, actually we do have one data set with us, and that data talks about the e-commerce at that time. And there is nobody told about in 1995 what is e-commerce. And then in Pakistan, I established a first like e-commerce center, Herbal Advisor, and basically this is like we're doing a sales actually in overseas, but the trend actually is turning over there, not in Pakistan. Now people are coming to the east side, but data is talking about at that time that actually is happened over there. Then they talk about after that the information model basically come into the global data sets, and we are going to talk about the knowledge sets, and then they talk about the network sets, and then finally in 2040 you will see it's going to be a knowledge world, not a data world, global knowledge data world. So these are the trends actually which is available, which is basically you have on internet, and when you are going to exercise it, how to predict that data, so you can check it out what the business are going to be obsoleted in the next 10 years and next 5 years. There are some people actually are talk about we need some HR skills over here. So how the old jobs is going to be like transfer into the new jobs. Yes, this is like 100% real. There is no recruitment centers are required. Everything is going to be shifted over the internet. And there are a lot of data over there. We can find it out like the questionnaires. We can check, we take the exam earlier, and we can slide it down that these people are just like 3, 4 people, 5, 10 people are the good people. Whenever we have required, we can just automatically the email can send to them and they call them. So there is recruitment and selection process, same as a performance appraisal system. All over things are going to be converting to the AI. So a lot of things is going to be happen. I think it's quite okay for them. If you need some more questions, okay. Thank you.
Dr. Abdul Sahab, can you hear us? आवाज आ रही है डॉक्टर साहब को? डॉक्टर साहब आपको आवाज आ रही है?
Yes, I can hear you.
डॉक्टर साहब आप मुतमईन हैं जो आपसे
Yeah, बिल्कुल. I think to an extent it's okay, but actually my question was Dr. Shahir was that for example the data you are talking about is okay, but for example if we have got our own data, so are there any online tools available via cloud where we can put our data and we give the conditions and the tools are the online tools are available actually to make decisions for us till the time we develop our own domestic tools or algorithms in AI?
Actually, Dr. Saab, the things you are talking about, it depends on what the data you are going to put over there. For example, if you need a sales prediction, obviously there are some tools are available with respect to the CRM on the internet. But if you want like some specialized data with you and you want to put over there, so there are some SaaS systems over on the internet that people are actually offering on the SaaS mode. They are charging the like analyze your data with respect to your data size and obviously with respect the timing that is going to be analyzed, and obviously you can predict it. But the same thing is going to be like a lot of jobs available on the data sciences on the internet. The people actually are they may have the data and they would like to analyze their data. So they take their jobs and obviously they convert into the predictions, and obviously like same as like I had shared in my previous presentation that I've been working with the John Hampton University, and they actually provide me the data. So I make a trend set of the Corona COVID, what's happening in the next 10 days. So it's going to be predicted. And I'll also share with the different people the same condition which is happening, the trend line, which is same is going to be happen in USA. The trend line of Pakistan is same. So next 2 months, the same condition is going to happen in Pakistan with respect to the Corona COVID. And you see, it's not happening. Like 5,000 cases on the daily basis are coming. So, and the model, actually the model is, it depends, like the type of the data and obviously the hierarchy of the data. So according to that data, there are some models available on internet, and obviously in some Python models are available. But obviously if your data is very the different sort of data which is not usually happen. So you need to develop some sort of any system for you. So it's not very expensive, but sometimes it's expensive. So I can't say that like all the data you can be able to assess their trend set and different thing on the internet. Not all data. And if this happened, I don't think so. Like the jobs of the data sciences could be available so many. 5 million jobs is that's why the 5 million jobs are available of the data sciences. That people have the data and they would like to according to that data they can predict it, and then obviously they would like that they can work on their data and provide the best of the best reports.
अगर ये फरमाइए एक बहुत पहले तो था SPSS,
जी
उसका कोई नया वर्जन आया मार्केट के अंदर?
सर SPSS के बाद जो है वो मिनी टैब आ गया था, और मिनी टैब के ऊपर फिर फर्दर जो है वो एक और भी सॉफ्टवेयर आ गया था मिनी टैब प्लस, और अब उसके पास जो अब उसको दोनों को जो इकोनॉमिक्स हुआ करती थी यानी कि स्टैटिस्टिक्स और इकोनॉमिक्स को मिला के इकोनोमेट्रिक्स डेवलप कर दिया गया है. और इकोनोमेट्रिक्स जो है वो इकोनोमेट्रिक्स जो है वो बेसिकली उसका एक सॉफ्टवेयर है eViews, वो इस वक्त यूज हो रहा है मार्केट में ज़्यादातर. लेकिन अब डाटा साइंसेस के टूल बहुत आ गए हैं इसके ऊपर.
बिल्कुल, और उसको एनालाइज करते हैं. क्योंकि मुझे बात याद है कि 90s के एंड के अंदर हम इसको यूज़ करते थे. मैं किसी जगह काम करता था तो वहाँ पे हमें ये मून की जो प्रिडिक्शंस थी इसके अपीयरेंस की वो देखनी थी, तो हमने डाटा उसमें फीड किया तो उसमें पैटर्न देने शुरू कर दिया था. तो वो आपकी बात सही है कि AI कोई नई चीज़ नहीं है, बड़ी पुरानी चीज़ है. ओवर टू यू रबिया, प्लीज ओवर टू यू रबिया. रबिया ओवर टू यू. रबिया आपको आवाज आ रही है?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me now? Thank you so much to all panelists.
Over to you. Yes.
Now, Dr. Shahir answered Dr. questions. No, we don't have any more questions now. I would like to end this session. Thank you so much, all the participants and all the panelists for today joining us. We will have 4 more days of AI week. So I would like to invite all of you to join us in our next upcoming days in which we discuss different topics. So we will update you in different groups.
Rabia, there's some distortion in your voice. Deutsch, thank you very much for coming. And actually, we are celebrating an AI week. So daily at 8 o'clock, we'll have a AI. So anybody in the panel, anybody in the participant, they can join. And daily we have a different discussion. I think tomorrow is AI for health. And
yes, sir.
different set of panelists are speaking there. So actually, Joy, what we have planned now that up till 14th of August, we will definitely continue with these small sessions. And after that, we'll have a complete training session, and I'm very positive Dr. Shahid will definitely take it over them from then. That's how the basic spirit right now is to create the appetite in the people about AI, about IoT, about IR 4.0. Because George, you are normally here in Pakistan, and there's a dire need for creating the awareness in the people about the business importance of these things. So I think with all this, I thank you all, and see you all tomorrow if you're interested in AI for health. And daily, Rabia will be coming with a different topic on AI at 8 o'clock. But Rabia called it AI. Rabia called it AI at 8 o'clock. Thank you. Thank you. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Thank you, George. Thank you, everybody. Okay.
Thank you, everybody.